people in this building in particular coming from nearby villages within 15 kilometers and also from other states like West Bengal, Punjab and other places. For us, it starts with a safety induction. Whenever they come into the building for the first time, we spend a lot of time training them on how they can do their job safely.
One part of that is also packaging, right? So I find international media also, environmental activists also, there's a concern about packaging, right? You have a point of view?
Certainly. I think from a packaging perspective, one of the things...
And the plastics.
Absolutely.
Non-recyclable.
So from a packaging perspective, we've been focusing on this area for many, many years. In fact, in this fulfillment center or any fulfillment center of Amazon across the country, all outbound packages are completely plastic free. We've actually worked on inventions like paper tape and making sure that we are using tertiary containers so that we don't have any need for packaging in most cases. So a large percentage of our shipments actually go without packaging.
ऐसी सुविधा दे रही है मतलब
हाँ, ये गिग वर्कर का काम है. जब मर्जी हुई और जब सुविधा हुई और जब कंपनी को जरूरत हुई तब काम कर दिया. लेकिन इसके लिए ट्रेनिंग कितनी करनी पड़ी?
ट्रेनिंग वैसे में एक हफ्ता ट्रेनिंग होती है उन लोग की.
हाँ.
एक हफ्ता में तो सीख जाते हैं पूरा अच्छे से काम करना.
और बीकॉम के बाद क्या करोगे?
बीकॉम के बाद देखेंगे अब
वापस अमेज़न में आओगे ना मैनेजर बन के.
Just in case you wonder where I am in this interesting attire and in this unusual place, let me tell you, this is the kind of place from which you might get your next package from Amazon from. This is the Amazon Fulfillment Center deep inside southern Haryana, and this is where thousands of people work and a wonderful, very remarkable logistics operation takes place. So in case you wonder what happens, how that package gets through to you so soon after you order, I might have some answers for you, or I will have somebody who might have some answers for you. That is Abhinav Singh, who's Vice President of Operations at Amazon India. Abhinav, welcome for finding the time. And this is a series we've started now, series of conversations under our value add series, where we look at people like you doing really interesting stuff and also companies doing really interesting stuff.
Oh, thank you so much for making the time. We'd love to take you around the building.
Abhinav, when someone like me who's tech challenged, always been tech challenged, I'm the pre-Google generation. What happens when I place an order with you? I place an order for an ice cream.
Ice cream?
Yes.
So the ice cream will probably not come from here.
Yeah.
But when you place an order for the Ceylon tea that you really like,
anything.
because you stay opposite eye.
My first Amazon purchase, my first e-commerce purchase of any kind was an LCD TV from Amazon. That's because our favorite cat, we used to love the cat playing with the TV until we realized she scratched the screen and killed it.
Yeah.
So that's when I downloaded the Amazon app and made my first order.
I'm really happy you did that, and I hope you're a Prime customer now.
So how does something like that get delivered to you?
So as soon as you click buy, we have real-time systems which determine the closest point that the inventory is located close to your house. And within milliseconds, the right warehouse or fulfillment center, like we call it, is decided. And there is where the order drops. When I say order drop, what that means is in the virtual world, in the technology world, the order is allocated to this building. From there, it will get allocated to a person who's walking with a handheld, who's the closest to that inventory. When you walk to the inventory shelves, you'll see that the person closest to the inventory at that point in time will get allocated that order, and then they'll pick it. They will check it from 6 sides to make sure that the order is in good shape and everything is fine with the inventory. They will then put it on a conveyor. From there, it will go to a pack station. On the pack station, there is a machine learning algorithm which determines the right box size so that you get the smallest possible box for the thing that you've ordered. Think about it, millions of products that we store, we have a machine learning algorithm which decides the optimal box size. From there, it goes to a process we call SLAM, which is basically a place where we put the label, where your address and contact information, all of that is there. On that label, there's again a real-time calculation that happens that we thought we'll get it to you by train or by plane or by truck based on the initial calculation. Does that promise still hold? Will we be able to meet your promise, or we have to change the mode of transportation? After that, it then goes onto a truck, onto a sort center and a delivery station, or to the nearest airport and rides a plane, depending on where you are and where the inventory is.
So say around Delhi, which must be one of your biggest markets, how much of the need are you able to fulfill with a center like this? This is not small, I can see.
Yeah. No, it's one of our largest in the country. It's in fact the largest in North India. Just from a floor space perspective, it's a 450,000 square feet building. It is 1.4 million cubic feet of storage. From a place like this, or from the many such buildings that we have in North of India, a large percentage of our orders are fulfilled locally. We want that to happen because then we are able to offer the widest selection at the fastest speed to the customers. There's no better way to offer fast selection than to keep it as close to the customer as possible.
Now, we see this building. For me, it's just another, I don't want to call it warehouse, right? But it's a place where lots of different stuff is boxed, stored, etc., etc.
Right.
Where is the technology, science? Because you guys keep claiming that your buildings are scientifically advanced.
So we use technology both from a hardware and a software perspective to make sure that we are able to make the customer experience and the associate experience better. Let's take you from the inbound process where we are right now. This is where we receive goods from our sellers. As soon as something is received, if we have not received that in any of our buildings in the world, we take it to a machine we call a QB scan. This machine does a six...
I can see that's
Yes.
QB scan.
Yeah, that's the QB scan machine area. And right below that is the machine. So in that machine, we do a 6-way scan, a weight and everything so that we know the exact dimension of this. Once something is scanned in one building, you don't have to scan it anywhere in the world. It now becomes a part of our catalog. From there, it gets stored in our inventory area. That store is also decided based on the optimal location of that, depending on what is the sell-through rate and things like that. Then after that, from a pick perspective, we spoke about your television order when it drops to a fulfillment center. We decide from a associate who's picking, from their pick path point of view, what is the closest point of the inventory. So there is a real-time allocation of the order to the associate who's picking on their handheld. They then go pick up the item from there. From there, it is put on conveyors. So the whole building has a lot of conveyance and automation where associate walk is reduced and effort is reduced. And it goes to a pack station. On the pack station, we determine what is the right box size using machine learning based on the type of stuff it is. Can it go in a paper bag without getting damaged? Should it go in a corrugate box? In a corrugate box, what size of corrugate box should it go in depending on how far it has to go and so on and so forth. From there, it goes to the place where we label the box. When we label the box, we do another real-time calculation to determine whether we'll be able to meet the promise or not. In our transportation network, which is after the fulfillment center, we have sort centers. Think of sort centers like bus stops.
Sort center, SOR.
SOR.
Like a post office.
Not necessarily a post office, like a bus stop. Think of it like ISBT, that you have buses coming from all over south, and to go to north, you change the bus to go there. So you send big trucks to sort centers. From sort centers, smaller vehicles go to delivery stations, right? And in the delivery stations, we use routing algorithms to make sure that our delivery associates have the most optimal path to be able to deliver those packages during the day. So in every aspect of associate and customer experience, technology is a large part of our operations.
As VP Ops, so I understand you have to make a choice between speed and reliability. what gets priority?
So the first thing that gets priority, quite honestly, is safety. Nothing trumps safety of our associates, whether it's here in the building or out on road. But from a speed and reliability, we don't see it as a trade-off. We know that we have to offer the largest possible selection at the fastest possible speed, but it has to be done reliably. Otherwise, there's no point offering that speed. So we actually don't think of them as trade-off. We use technology to make sure that we are able to build a reliable system that's exceptionally fast. Like we have less than same-day delivery in many cities in India. Large part of India is covered with next-day delivery. We have reach to every single postcode in India. So we deeply care about providing our widest selection to the largest possible part of the country. So we don't see that as a trade-off. I personally don't see that as a trade-off.
But in your functioning life, have you faced situations where you have to take a call?
No. So I think when things like a severe weather event happens, when a thing like rains happen suddenly, in that case we believe in honestly and transparently communicating to our customers. And yes, we do slow down the network so that we are able to offer customers the right promise. You don't want to overpromise and underdeliver because you don't want the customer to feel as though they'll get something faster, but they don't get it faster. But that's only in the case when the network is constrained by uncontrollables. But when it comes to controllables, we don't see it as a trade-off.
So what part of your operation is still manual? I see from the packaging is.
Right. So this actually is the vendor returns area.
Vendor return area.
Yeah, this is where the seller inventory, which is going back to the sellers, either it is something that they want to take back from a fulfillment perspective because they'd like to change the inventory, or it has come back from the customers and it's finding their way back. So where it's required from a handling perspective, we still have manual operations, but all of it is aided, whether it's through software or through hardware technology like conveyors.
Yeah. So when it comes to quick commerce, which one is more important? Speed, value, customer satisfaction?
I think as a customer yourself, you will agree that you have different needs at different points in time. But one thing which remains constant is that you want the largest selection at the fastest speed. And that's exactly what we are focused on. From a quick commerce perspective as well, how do you make the right relevant selection available to the customer at the fastest possible speed is going to be the way to look at it.
We'll talk about environment and safety. One part of that is also packaging, right? So I find international media also, environmental activists also, there's a concern about packaging, right? You have a point of view?
Certainly. I think from a packaging perspective, one of the things...
And the plastics.
Absolutely.
Non-recyclable.
So from a packaging perspective, we've been focusing on this area for many, many years. In fact, in this fulfillment center or any fulfillment center of Amazon across the country, all outbound packages are completely plastic free. We've actually worked on inventions like paper tape and making sure that we are using tertiary containers so that we don't have any need for packaging in most cases. So a large percentage of our shipments actually go without packaging. The benefit of this approach is not just removal of packaging, downsizing of packaging, reducing waste. All of that is really there. That's the first order impact. The second order impact is that the weight of our outbound packages has come down by a significant number, as much as 28%, which reduces the need for diesel.
I see a bit of plastic here, but obviously this doesn't go into delivery.
No, so this goes all the way to the last mile delivery station. From there it goes to the delivery associate in the delivery bags. But because we transfer in these plastic containers, you don't need to put a lot of extra packaging on the item itself. The item can go relatively unprotected and reach safely to the customer.
Yeah, and then it comes back to you, the box.
Yes,
Plastic.
absolutely.
So to that extent, you are using them, and
Yes.
they are mostly indestructible.
Exactly. So they have permanent life.
Yeah. And your competition, do you look at your competition in terms of safety, in terms of technology, how they run their centers?
So from a safety and from a infrastructure perspective, especially when it comes to associate experience, we are certain that we are industry leaders. But for us, that's just the way we would like to do business. From an associate experience perspective, whether the fulfillment center that we're standing in right now is temperature controlled, it has real-time monitoring systems, which I will show you later, which not just measure the temperature, but also the humidity of the building to calculate something we call the heat index.
Because humidity is important.
Yeah.
Things can get ruined.
Exactly.
Electronics can get ruined.
Well, items is one thing, but from an associate comfort as
Right.
well, humidity matters as much as temperature. So we measure the heat index, and based on what the heat index of the building or that area is, we take the right safety protocols. That's just one example. From an associate benefits point of view, we have a 5-day work week, not just for managers, but also for associates. That flexible work schedule is one of the big reasons why associates love working for us. The other aspects, by the way, this culture of safety and the culture of respect that we so deeply care about is one of our biggest retention factors, not just for associates, but also for managers. That deep care that, you come into this building or any building at Amazon and you're going to go back home safe, and people really care about how you're doing work, how comfortable are you that you're doing work. That matters to us.
Because you know what? Having worked in all kinds of working conditions and also being somebody who spent a lot of my time in rough areas and rough conditions, heat and humidity, watching that can be the difference between a place being a sweatshop and being a comfortable work area.
Absolutely.
Because it becomes literally a sweatshop in India
Well, not in Amazon.
for many months in the year.
Yeah.
And I find that people can be sometimes conscious of the heat, but not of humidity,
Absolutely.
because that's essential to comfort. So there were some issues about working environment in some of your facilities. You do make the press sometimes. What was that about? And what lessons have you learned?
So, at the start, we are very confident that last year, just like this year, our facilities were industry leading, and the actual environment inside our buildings was very comfortable for associates. But when we investigated, we did find an isolated incident of a manager taking an action which was not in the true spirit of which we operate from a safety perspective. We took the right disciplinary action. We learned from that incident. We then disseminated that learning across the companies. And we make sure that the safety protocols that we have are always followed. By the way, just in that case also, sir, the manager, and the background of the story is the manager had actually said something like, I will not do this. I will not take a break till the time this thing gets done. And he hadn't said, you will not take a break. But it could have been misconstrued.
But the expectation would have been that if the boss is not taking a break, then we are off.
But we saw the footage and everything, breaks were taken, but notwithstanding, it was not the right way to do things. So we did take the act.
So what are the different kinds of roles that you have in the fulfillment center? How does Amazon prepare and train people for these jobs? Because when I see your people, many of them are very young people.
Yes.
And I think many from local areas.
Yes.
So
So we have people in this building in particular coming from nearby villages within 15 kilometers,
Right.
and also from other states like West Bengal, Punjab, and other places. For us, it starts with a safety induction. Whenever they come into the building for the first time, we spend a lot of time training them on how they can do their job safely. Once that is done, then they are trained on different process paths. And based on that training, they are either allocated to picking or packing or stowing and so on and so forth. So the different processes required to fulfill a customer order is where they get allocated.
what's the meaning of damage and amnesty? I'm just curious.
So amnesty is
Damage, I understand. What's amnesty?
amnesty is if you find something lying on the floor, right?
Uh-huh.
You go and put it there.
I see.
You don't put it back in any shelf that you see, because if you put it back in any shelf that you see, then the count will go off. So you put it over here, and then someone will come, scan that later, find the right place for it, and go put it back.
Tell me more about these training challenges, because I've been to the Infosys Training Center in Mysore, and I know that the training includes teaching men to wear ties and women to wear saris, and teaching spoken English. These are all engineers
Right.
from regional colleges.
Right.
So what kind of training challenges do you have?
I wouldn't say challenges, I would say more opportunities. From a training perspective, we work with people to make sure that they, to be really forthright about it. Safety from a culture point of view, if you look at it outside the building, is not a very big fabric of the society at large as yet.
Yes,
Even you and me, from
Yes,
a
yes, yes.
seat belts point of view in the
Yes.
back seat, would you be wearing it?
No, I will take you to Pune.
Yeah.
Nobody wears a seat belt
Yeah.
and nobody wears a helmet, and it's seen as a defeat if you're forced to do it.
And in that environment, we create a bubble almost where safety is the biggest thing. And how you do your role safely and how you use technology. You spoke about helmet, a very pertinent example. For our drivers, we have a mandatory selfie check which pops up at different points in time during the day, where they have to demonstrate that they are wearing a helmet and carrying a helmet with them when they're going out for deliveries. So that, and then how you can train people on making sure that the same customer obsession culture, which is so a part of who we are at Amazon, permeates through the organization. We focus a lot on respectful behavior, and then finally the functional training of how to use the scanners, how to use the tools and the technology and the machines. All of that is done.
So we are talking about training and induction. We found somebody here. आपका नाम क्या है?
सर मेरा नाम मनीषा है।
मनीषा, कहाँ के रहने वाली हो?
सर मैं हरियाणा की रहने वाली
हरियाणा में? मैं भी हरियाणा
जींद
का हूँ। आप कहाँ की हो?
हूँ। जींद से सर।
जींद से। मैं एक तरह से रोहतक से, ना कॉलेज में रोहतक गया था मैं, तो आपके पड़ोस का हूँ। तो मनीषा ये बताओ कि फैमिली लाइफ, तो आप घर से बहुत दूर रहती हो कि फैमिली के साथ रहती हो?
नहीं सर, फैमिली के साथ रहती हूँ। मैं डेली अप डाउन करती हूँ घर से ही। तो
अच्छा।
अभी मैं लास्ट ईयर मैटरनिटी लीव पे गई थी।
अच्छा।
मेरी 1 साल की बच्ची है।
क्या बात है।
यस सर।
अब बताइए आपको।
थैंक यू सर।
और फिर उससे आपकी जॉब में ब्रेक हुआ उससे?
सर मैं 6 मंथ की मैटरनिटी लीव पे गई थी।
हाँ।
तो उसके बाद मैंने दोबारा ज्वाइन किया। दोबारा ज्वाइन करने में मुझे कोई दिक्कत नहीं हुई। टीम ने मुझे बहुत सपोर्ट की।
हाँ, तो आपको क्या क्या फैसिलिटी मिलती है मैटरनिटी में?
सर 6 मंथ की छुट्टी मिली मेरे को, और 6 मंथ की जो सैलरी थी वो मेरे को मिली।
हाँ। और यहाँ काफ़ी लड़कियाँ हैं जो जिनके जो माँ बनी यहाँ काम करते हुए आपके पास, और कभी बच्चा ला सकती हो यहाँ पे अपना साथ में, कभी दिखाने के लिए? थोड़ा बड़ा हो जाएगा फिर ना, एक दिन साइट सीइंग के लिए, है ना? I see a lot of women on your floor. What is your gender ratio?
So we truly believe in an inclusive work environment, and we want our employee base to be representative of our customers, which is half of them are women. So that's roughly the ratio that you'll find in all of our buildings. Whether it's associates or it is managers, you will find that nearly half of them are women.
And how does it compare with facilities elsewhere in the world?
So it's a global priority, and it compares similarly to our facilities in the rest of the world. But from an industry perspective, we're certainly industry leading.
आप तो पेयर सोप लेके जा रहे हो, क्या नाम है आपका?
सर मेरा अमित कुमार है।
अमित कुमार। अमित, कब से काम कर रहे हो यहाँ
सर
पे?
2 साल हो गए काम करते हुए।
2 साल हो गए। और क्या आप फुल टाइम काम करते हो, पार्ट टाइम करते हो, कैसे करते हो?
सर जैसे मैं कॉलेज ज्वाइन कर रखा है मैंने सर।
आप पढ़ रहे हो?
पढ़ रहा
क्या
हूँ।
पढ़ रहे हो?
बीकॉम कर रहा हूँ सर।
अच्छा,
बीकॉम।
कहाँ से?
सर यहीं से, गुड़गांव यूनिवर्सिटी से।
अच्छा, और फिर यहाँ
तो
काम
सर-
कैसे करते हो?
तो सर मैं कॉलेज के साथ पार्ट टाइम जॉब करता हूँ, इसलिए कि कुछ खर्चे निकल जाते हैं मेरे को। हाँ
तो आपको कैसे पता लगता है कि किस टाइम आके काम करना है यहाँ पे?
सर, वो स्लॉट निकालते हैं कंपनी वाले। जैसे कंपनी में जब निकलते हैं फिर तो हम लोग अपने अवेलेबल रहता है, फिर तो हम उसके अनुसार बुक करते हैं कि अब हम 2 दिन छुट्टी है वैसे,
हाँ,
तो बुक करते हैं हम लोग
तो
अपना।
जितना टाइम काम करते हो उतनी की आपको सैलरी मिलती
हाँ
है?
उतनी सैलरी मिलती है हमें। तो हमें कंपनी से बाहर जाते हैं, हमें आते 15-10 मिनट में सैलरी आती है हमारी।
अच्छा,
हम लोग की, हाँ
ट्रांसफर हो जाती
ट्रांसफर हो
है।
जाती है हमारे अकाउंट में।
आपकी पढ़ाई का खर्चा निकल जाता
हाँ
है,
पढ़ाई खर्च
उससे
निकल जाता
आगे बच भी जाता है।
है। नहीं बचता तो कुछ नहीं है, वैसे तो हम पार्ट टाइम वैसे कर लेते हैं फिर भी
हाँ, पर जितना करोगे
उतना
तो
मिलेगा।
ये
हाँ
एक
एक तरह से सुविधा दे रही है अमेजोन
हाँ,
कंपनी काम करने की।
ये गिग वर्कर
हाँ
का काम है, जब मर्जी हुई और जब सुविधा हुई और जब कंपनी को
तब
जरूरत हुई
हाँ
तब काम
तब आ
कर
जाते हैं।
लिया।
हाँ
लेकिन इसके लिए ट्रेनिंग कितनी करनी पड़ी?
ट्रेनिंग इतनी वैसे में एक हफ्ता ट्रेनिंग होती है हम लोग की।
हाँ,
एक हफ्ता में तो सीख जाते हैं पूरा अच्छे से काम
हाँ,
करना।
हाँ। और बीकॉम के बाद क्या करोगे?
बीकॉम के बाद देखेंगे अब जॉब।
वापस अमेजोन में आओगे ना मैनेजर बन के।
हाँ
अरे एमबीए करो, फिर हम भी कहीं देखेंगे तुमको।
हाँ सही
इनकी
ठीक है
तरह आप
सर।
भी खड़े हो गए कहीं पे,
हाँ बिल्कुल सर
है ना?
बिल्कुल।
So this is what I was telling you about the heat index. These are sensors which are deployed all across the building. They measure the temperature, the humidity, and the combination of the two to determine how comfortable it is to work in that area. If the heat index goes beyond a certain level, an automatic alarm gets triggered not just here but across the network. And then we have to take mitigating actions as per our protocol, which include, rotation from work, giving extended breaks, or in fact shutting down that area or the building completely because it's not comfortable to work in. The other place is
But safety, the biggest thing is to have consciousness.
absolutely.
Because we are a country of jugaad.
जी.
And jugaad is the enemy of safety. Right? So people think, chalega, koi baat nahi hai. That's a challenge in India.
I agree, and for that, it's about overt communication and making sure that every time you're reinforcing the fact that safety is the most important thing. In fact, when associates come from their home, in home office, home buses that we provide, we make sure that all of those buses have seat belts and they have to wear those seat belts. They come into the building and the first thing they do to start their day is a safety briefing. So it is a huge part of our communication culture here at Amazon.
Yeah, because also for us culturally, it's a little bit of fatalism. ये भगवान तेरी माया कहीं धूप कहीं छाया. What has to happen will happen. And that's the one that everybody has to try to. I mean, we also do it in our own ways.
Absolutely.
We try and tell people, don't take risks you don't have to, for example.
This is the other aspect of the culture which I wanted to talk to you about an open communication. So here people can talk about what's going well, where is it that they'd like a few improvements in our building or in the way things are going. And there's a very open culture where they can put this in on an electronic forum, which they're used to anyway from a social media perspective. And we respond to it and take action and actually broadcast it. So this is an open dialogue that we have with our associates and a very structured forum, what we call Voice of Associate. What we learn from here, we actually take action and then we talk about it broadly about how we have taken action and learned from what they've told us.
We've seen this humongous facility. I know you will always have anxieties, safety issues. You have so many people. Last year, there were some questions about working conditions in some of your facilities. Will you tell me more about it?
Yeah. So the proof of the pudding is in the eating, and you've seen the world-class infrastructure yourself. From an infrastructure standards perspective, we are very certain that we are industry leading. That was as true last year as it is now. So we are very sure that the working conditions were never in question. When we did the investigation, we did find an isolated case of a manager taking action on their own accord. That action was not in accordance with our safety protocols, and we took disciplinary action and learned from that incident. But it was an isolated incident which we learned from. It didn't change the focus that we have on safety. It didn't change the way we think about our infrastructure, but it just taught us how we can do better.
And would you say emphatically that this was the only one?
Oh yes, we looked at it from all angles. We looked at each and every facility. We conducted hundreds of interviews just to be sure that this was indeed an isolated incident, which it was.
Yeah, because you do this in many countries, right?
Yes.
And you are in your face everywhere. You are a very big brand. So these things are very, very sensitive.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And it's not so much from a sensitivity for the outside world perspective, it's the standard that we want to have for our associates and our managers. And you're right, the same standards apply in India as they do anywhere else in the world.
The other thing I noticed just walking past this, that some young people who are, I could figure out, are speech and hearing impaired. So do you specially reach out and hire people like that? Do you have like a quota? And if so, how do you train them and how do you keep them safe?
So it's not a quota. We try to maximize the opportunities that we can provide from an inclusion perspective. So we started it as a small experiment, but now there are thousands of such associates across all type of operations, whether it's fulfillment centers, sort centers, delivery stations. We in fact partner with organizations like the Sarthak Foundation, where we train them not just for Amazon, but for retail and e-commerce from an employability perspective. Here in Amazon, a lot of them have grown from being associates to process associates to now even manager in some cases. And from a training point of view, we make sure that we have the right inclusive environment and trainers who know sign. All our managers train on basic sign. In fact, when we were walking past the television, you would have seen,
Yes, I've seen that, yes.
people teaching basic sign over there. And for creating an environment where anyone can have a conversation, we have a technology we call Signable, where we can have a three-way conversation with an on-demand sign interpreter. So you could go on the floor and talk to the person who's speech and hearing impaired by using a three-way interpreter and a virtual technology.
Now, the other part of this I know, this is a big logistics hub for you. But the stuff goes out of here. But then the stuff reaches me. That's the tail end of the operation. And like the human body, the blood supply is it's most challenging to get the right blood supply at the end of the human body. So what happens at that end, and who are these delivery agents, how are they trained, and how do you look after them, and how do you make sure they are disciplined and they are welcome in people's homes?
Right. I did not know that the feet is the hardest part to get the blood to. I will make sure I remember that every day is a school day. You're very right. From a customer perspective, the only point of contact with Amazon is the delivery associate. And we want to make sure that that experience is as good as it can be. From a delivery perspective, we have multiple, we call channels of delivery. One of them is I Have Space, which is Kirana stores who, think about your neighborhood Kirana shop.
Right.
They have customers coming in the morning, they have customers coming in the evening, but a large part of their day, they don't have customer footfall. But they know the area quite intimately, and in fact, they do deliveries to people's homes. So we give them packages to deliver for us. There are 28,000 such stores across the country who do deliveries for us. We have a program of small and medium enterprises, these small businesses who we call delivery service partners or extended delivery service partners. These are, housewives, veterans, college students who are doing this part-time or full-time running businesses of their own. They don't have to be from a logistics background. We enable them with training, provide them the right technology, and then they do the deliveries for us. We also have something called Flex, which is basically an on-demand model, Amazon Flex, where, college students, very similar to the one who you met in the building today.
Right.
Who
the
was
BCom student, yes.
Actually, the BCom student who's coming here for a few hours. Similarly, there are students who can, or housewives who can deliver for small durations during the day. From a safety perspective, depending on the weather, one of the biggest things that we do is making sure that the out on road conditions are safe for them. So every day before they go out onto the road, they have to do something called a vehicle check, where they make sure that the tire pressure is right, they log it, we make sure that the bike is insured or the vehicle is insured, and that it's in good working condition. From there on, when they're on road, we mandate helmet wearing. So we do checks with photographs, and when they come into station, they have to be carrying a helmet. We mandate the fact that when they are on road, they're driving at a safe speed. If they are over speeding or
Can you monitor it?
Yes, we actually send them real-time alerts to tell them that they are over speeding at this point in time. one of the menaces, you're an animal lover, but one of the menaces that is there on the
Stray
Indian
dogs.
road is stray dogs. And
I thought they particularly did not like pizza delivery walas.
well, for them, anyone on a bike represents danger, I suppose. So in that case, we actually have information on our applications. Where is it that there is a high propensity of stray dogs? We also have tie-ups.
Yeah, when it's a wolf pack, then it becomes a problem.
Absolutely. We also have tie-ups with third-party ambulance service providers. So in case of an incident or an accident on road, within a few minutes, an ambulance shows up for rescue and help. We have insurance and accidental coverage. We have accidental coverage of up to 5 lakhs, health coverage up to 1 lakh. So there's a plethora of benefits and safety protocol that we do to make sure that people are safe. One of the things that I'm deeply passionate about is in the summer, we give people time off during the day. So we give them route lengths which are less than what they are, needed to deliver the packages. For that 1 hour, half an hour in the afternoon when they have free time, we are establishing centers we call ashray, where people who are delivering packages...
Ashray means shelter.
Shelter, absolutely. People who are delivering packages or other items for any company, not just Amazon, can go rest in an air-conditioned environment, avail of cold water, free tea, coffee, charge their phone, and basically not have to be out on road during the hottest part of the day.
So if I can make a suggestion to you, I think you should tie up with animal support groups. Particularly, there are lots of volunteer groups who look after stray dogs. So that will help you have the stray dogs more peaceful and less threatening. Those things work very well.
I'll take that on board.
And that will be part of your safety, I think, because if you are chased by a dog, it can be very scary.
Absolutely.
And people can panic and do odd things. Having said that, since we came to blood circulation, remember that song, feet are made for walking, right? I think that's the principle always, because your heart pumps the blood and your feet are the most distant part for the heart to pump the blood to.
Got it.
So I think that's how, was it Nancy Sinatra or somebody who sang? I think from my childhood or even earlier.
Yeah.
So that principle is a good one for life. And you are the son of a champion aviator. So I know that you've seen the benefits of physical movement and exercise and walking and running.
Oh, absolutely. It's a large part of my life and something that I've inherited.
Yeah. Now, do you control, you said that you, in summer you give people break time and give them less work, but do you follow like some norms of how many deliveries in a day? How do you optimize it?
So it really depends on the area and the time that is available. For example, in an area which is very dense, you can do more deliveries in the same time period.
Like in a building?
In an office building, in an apartment building, and so on and so forth. In areas which are widespread, you can do fewer deliveries in the same time period. In fact, there are some time-definite deliveries that we offer, that you order by midnight and you get by noon tomorrow in the afternoon. In that case, meeting that customer promise is important. So in that case, you give lesser packages for that route. So really dependent on the time available.
But it's not as if the more the guy delivers, the more he gets paid. It's not like that.
So we have a model where we have fixed income and there is some top up from a variable perspective, but it is always made sure that the safety of the driver, right from the speed at which they are driving, the load that they are carrying. By the way, we make sure that the load that is carried is a safe working load. They are never overloaded. Even if the bag has more space, it cuts off at a maximum weight that they can carry.
And that option, the delivery person does not have.
No, they don't have the option to top it up. The technology will not allow allocation of packages beyond a certain weight.
So how many people work for you full time now in India and how many on gig basis?
So over the last 10 years, and I've been fortunate to be part of this journey for the entirety of the last 13 years that we've been here, but the 12 years since we launched.
You were a shippy.
Yes, I was a shippy before I joined Amazon. But in the last 12 years, we've created 1.5 million direct and indirect jobs. At any one point in time, there are hundreds and thousands of people across the country in every city who are working and delivering or packing or shipping for Amazon.
So Amazon's now been in India for what?
12 years since we launched.
12 years. Where do you see the company going in India?
So I truly believe
You
that
also have some competition.
absolutely. I truly believe that
Some global, some domestic.
yes, it's a very optimistic scenario. E-commerce as a part of overall retail is still very small. Estimates put it at between 5 and 6%. So there is enough and more for all of us to do, and get speed, convenience, and the right
I'll
price and
never buy
selection.
my green groceries or even other groceries through e-commerce.
Right.
I still like to go to, and my wife also, like to go to the grocery shop. We know the person or the chemist shops. So these are old habits in India.
Right. So I think we are focusing on making sure that we are part of that habit.
Yeah.
Like I spoke to you about the I Have Space program, where these shop owners, the grocer you go to or the pharmacist you go to, their income is actually topped up by delivering packages for Amazon. So it's an ecosystem where we are sort of co-inhabiting, for that matter, and they are benefiting from the delivery experience.
So you have now competition international, that is Flipkart, which is Walmart, right? And you have Reliance, which is like a big Indian MNC, that size and that. What do you worry about?
So we truly worry about, are we getting better for our customers or not? We are aware of what competitors do, but we obsess about the customer experience. Are we getting better, faster, more reliable for our customers today than we were yesterday? If you look at the basic facts, we are faster today than we ever were to our customers. We offer a larger selection at faster speeds than ever before. And that's what we truly focus on. We want to build a business which is the safest, fastest, most reliable across the country. And in that, like I said, e-commerce or online commerce is such a small part of retail in India that there is room for everyone.
There's a lot of headroom. And what kind of a place India is for an MNC like yours by way of working environment, regulatory environment? Is there too much regulation, too little? Do you have any complaints?
No, no complaints. Every country has its own unique regulations. Our role is to make sure that we are fully compliant with the local law of the land, and we are making sure that we are good for the country that we operate in. And that's what we focus on. Making sure that our business model and everything that we do is 100% compliant, and we are creating a positive impact in the country that we are in. We've, over the last 12 years, helped digitized over 1.3 million sellers, created 1.5 million direct and indirect jobs, empowered SMBs across the nation through our DSP, EDSP, I Have Space program. And that's what we focus on. One of the programs which we are deeply passionate about is the Karigar program, where millions of sellers have, these are small artisans who are creating in Kashmir or in Rajasthan and other parts of the country. They have come online and they're able to access markets across the country. The Saheli program, where women entrepreneurs are encouraged to come and work on Amazon, and the work that we do in the community at a grassroots level. There are two projects which, I'm sure you'll be as passionate about as I am. One is the mangrove restoration that we announced very recently in Mumbai and Gujarat, where the pelican habitat in the Thane Creek is endangered because of the plastic waste that's flowing there. We are working with Plastic Fisher to fish out 150 tons of that plastic waste so that the pelican habitat is better. We're doing replantation in the Gujarat mangroves. The second project is in cities like Bangalore and Hyderabad. We're doing lake restoration. So the Yamare Lake in Bangalore and a lake in Hyderabad, we are regenerating about between 270 to 300 million liters of water, 300 million liters of water, so that we can improve the groundwater situation in these cities. So those are the things we truly focus on. Like, are we creating the right positive impact?
Bangalore needs help with its water. In fact, as we are talking, stories being edited in my newsroom on Bangalore's groundwater crisis because it's gone really low this time.
We are doing our part, and I completely agree with you. As a citizen of Bangalore, I completely agree that we need to do more water.
Cities and
restoration.
civilizations have been laid waste because of lack of water.
We have taken a goal, which is an audacious goal, but we are very sure we'll achieve it. That by 2027, all of our direct operations will be water positive. So that means we will be returning more water to the ground than we take from it by actions such as lake regeneration, water harvesting, water, using less water in our facilities and so on.
That's excellent, Abhinav. We've had a great conversation. It was wonderful to meet you. And also next time I hear more stories about your dad and come and meet him also because, there's no life like that of a fighter pilots. And he was among the elite of the elite.
Thank you, sir. It was lovely meeting you.
Please give him my greetings.
I certainly will.